Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop.
Right here is a fuse. I'm hoping that I just have a blown fuse, but you never know, so I'm going to check it out. Oh, it's really corroded. If nothing else, it's really corroded. Doesn't look like it's blown, but that much corrosion on it. Pretty good chance that I have some connection problems. Okay, we've got continuity, but I had to scrape the dickens out of those contacts. That tells me that this thing has got a lot of junk in there. Let's see if I got continuity between the different parts. Okay, that wire's good. Let's see where that wire goes to. I have a red wire, that must be the battery cable going into this. There's a wire tie right there. Go down and get the electrical tools. Flip off this little tie wrap. Open up this connector. And this lead according to the diagram, the blue and the green go from the motor controller to the motor. That's this wire. The black wire, which is this sheet group of two, goes up to the brake lever. The two wires that go from the battery to the motor controller through the fuse go from the battery pack. The red goes from the battery pack through the fuse, through the switch, and then on over to the motor controller, and from the motor controller it goes to the motor. So if I plug the battery directly into that, that should bypass the switch and the fuse and all the controls. So I should get some movement out of the motor. There we go. Nothing. So if I clip one lead to the red and another lead to the black, I should be able to jumper this circuit and make it try and start the motor. At 16 volts. I should have a motor that tries to turn. I'm going to insert the fuse. Check and see if I've got continuity through the switch. Okay, that's the black wire. That's the red wire. Okay, I have continuity to the switch. So the switch is working. And the fuse is working. Okay, I have a charger that seems to be working. I have a system that seems to be working. But it says I have an empty battery, which is not going to let the motor controller turn on. Now that I have the fuse clean, I think I have a shot at charging the battery. Okay, we've got things plugged in. We're on the charger. Okay, let's see what kind of voltage we're getting to the battery. Showing 27 volts. So the charger is working. Well, if I go directly from the battery to the motor turns. But if I connect the battery to the circuit and try the controls, the motor won't start. Will this allow me to do this? Yes, the polarity is correct. jumpered out the fuse and the switch. Getting voltage through, getting 10 volts through the circuit at all times. Even with the wire disconnected. I've got 10 volts coming through the circuit. Voltage is gradually dropping. Tells me there's some kind of capacitor system in there. That also tells me that there's something wrong in this circuit, and I'm thinking it's probably in that fuse holder. Okay, let's try that. Clean that up a bit. Plug this back in. Plug that back in. Now I have the circuit hooked up. They're using both sides of the switch contact to make their circuit. That's making me think that one switch contact isn't enough. They're thinking that that switch isn't big enough to handle the load that they're giving it. So they've taken a single or a double contact switch and doubled up on it. Fair amount of resistance in that switch. So if I clamp these two wires together, like so, let's see if I can get any current coming through. Controller. Well, that's saying I've got about 16 volts coming through the controller. And I've got red, yellow, and green lights lit. voltage is dropping. This doesn't seem to make any difference. So I'm feeling I've got poor contact in the switch. Let's slide this back together again, see if that makes a difference. It's acting like this, all the circuits are just corroded as hell. Put this clip on there just to keep the wires from contacting the frame of it. Battery's putting out 23 volts. So I got a good battery. But this thing is not doing what it's supposed to do. And there's a relay in there that's supposed to be making this operate. So that thing is dead.